Just imagine, you meet someone for the first time, and boom, there's that spark. Maybe it's their smile, the way they talk, or just something you can't explain. But here's the crazy part. Science says attraction isn't just about looks. Your brain, hormones, and even your childhood memories are all playing a secret game behind the scenes. So today, we're diving into the fascinating science of why you like who you like. And trust me, it's not what you think.
You know that feeling, right? That instant electric pull towards someone, like the whole room just disappears, and it's just them. It feels totally mysterious, like destiny or something.
It really does. It's maybe the biggest romantic mystery we feel. But the sources we're looking at today, they argue it's not really fate, that initial spark. It's actually, well, it's science. It's driven by evolution, our psychology, and this pretty specific mix of brain chemicals.
Exactly. So our mission here is to get past the romance novel stuff and really dig into the science of human attraction. We're exploring the real biological, psychological, and social things that make you find someone, magnetic. The big question, why that person? And our sources actually break it down into steps, starting with maybe the most surprising ones, the simple stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The very foundation of attraction, often it comes down to things that feel almost random. Accidental factors, nothing to do with deep personality, not at first anyway. We really have to begin with the environment. Things like proximity and familiarity.
Okay, let's tackle that first one, the mere exposure effect. So our sources are saying the more you just see someone around, the more likely you are to start feeling positively towards them. It sounds so basic, almost like cheating the system. You think it's some deep connection, but maybe it's just your assigned seat in class.
Precisely. And familiarity works because, well, it dials down the stranger alarm in our brains. We're sort of wired to see unfamiliar things as potentially risky. So when you see someone regularly, a classmate, your neighbor, someone at work, that risk perception drops and they just become cognitively easier to like. The sources give that classic example. The classmate you sit near daily versus someone you just pass in the hall. That daily exposure massively boosts the chance of positive feelings, even if you barely talk.
Okay, so proximity is like the entry ticket. It makes someone feel safe, familiar, but that alone doesn't explain that, that click. Like you said, you see your mail carrier daily. It doesn't mean sparks fly. So what's the next filter?
Right, that's where the next layer comes in. Similarity. This is the similarity-attraction effect. We're just naturally drawn to people who seem like us. Similar values, hobbies, ways of living. It creates this instant comfort and validation.
Yeah, I always think of that feeling when you spot someone wearing a t-shirt for some obscure band you love, or they mention a really niche hobby you thought only you had. It's like an immediate in.
It is. But the research adds a really crucial point here, something that keeps it from being just superficial. Charles Chu's work suggests this similarity effect. It's strongest when it's not just about liking the same ice cream flavor. It's when you believe those shared interests spring from something deep, something fundamental, a core part of who you both are.
Ah, okay. So it's not just, oh, you like hiking too. It's more like connecting over a shared, deeply held belief about nature that makes you both want to hike.
Exactly that. When you perceive that shared thing as core, the connection feels way more significant, more real. So you start with the practical stuff, seeing them often. Then you filter for this deeper common ground. But what about those times the spark hits? Like instantly, before you've even really talked. Logistics and common ground don't always explain that immediate jolt.
Yeah, that's the perfect transition, moving from those social, more conscious factors to the hidden stuff, the biological triggers that work super fast, often totally subconsciously. What's our body actually looking for, even while our brain is busy thinking about shared hobbies?
This is where the brain does this incredibly quick, almost unconscious assessment. Our sources really stress this. Factors like facial appearance, how someone moves, their posture, eye contact. It's all evaluated in milliseconds.
We shift straight into biology here, and the first big one, facial symmetry.
Symmetry, you hear that a lot. It's supposedly a universal marker of beauty, right, across cultures.
Yeah.
But why? Is it just... Not really, no. It's actually an evolutionary signal. Symmetrical faces, where the left and right sides are pretty much mirror images, they're found attractive universally because symmetry subconsciously signals healthy development. Think about it. Illness, poor nutrition, Even just environmental stress or genetic issues can cause small asymmetries as we develop. So a highly symmetrical face is like a quick visual shorthand from our biology saying, hey, this person probably has good genes, a strong system. It's a rapid health assessment.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for a quick visual check. But the thing in our sources that really blew my mind was scent. The hidden role of smell. We're always trying to cover up our natural scent, but apparently our biology is doing its own thing underneath all that.
This is one of the most fascinating bits, honestly. The research shows we tend to prefer the natural body scent, not perfumes or colognes, but the actual pheromones of people whose immune system genes, specifically the MHC genes, are different from our own.
Whoa, okay. That's totally counterintuitive. We like the smell of people who are genetically different from us in terms of immunity.
Yes. And the evolutionary logic is pretty clear, if a bit blunt. Combining different sets of immune system genes gives offspring a better chance. Broader immunity, more robust defense against diseases. So, that subconscious pull you might feel towards someone's natural scent. It could literally be your biology trying to find a good genetic match for potential kids.
I never thought of it like that. So the body's kind of going, yeah, shared love of indie films is nice, but your immune system complements mine. It means attraction is way less about our conscious checklist than we think. It's partly survival instinct.
Exactly. It really starts with biology and chemistry, not just shared Spotify playlists. And speaking of chemistry, that leads us right into those physical feelings. The racing heart, the butterflies, the sweaty palms. That's the chemical fallout from all this rapid evaluation.
Right, the rush. When we talk about that, we're mainly talking adrenaline and dopamine, yeah. What do they do when someone ticks all those proximity, similarity, and biological boxes?
Adrenaline hits first. That's the jolt. The racing heart, maybe feeling a bit flushed or panicky, the sweaty palms. It's basically your fight or flight system kicking in because you're encountering something intense, something highly stimulating.
And dopamine is the reward chemical, right? The brain's way of saying, ooh, I like this. Do that again.
Yeah.
It creates that motivation, that craving, makes you want to seek out that person again for another hit. So that initial attraction can feel amazing, but it could also be a bit misleading.
Totally misleading sometimes. That adrenaline dopamine cocktail, it's potent, absolutely, but it's designed for the short term. It's about kickstarting pursuit. To get from that initial chase to something more sustainable, like actual bonding, you need another player, oxytocin.
Ah, the cuddle hormone or bonding hormone. That's what builds the trust and closeness, right? Shifts things from just exciting to comfortable and connected. How does oxytocin even get involved in that very early attraction stage?
Well, it's released during emotional connection, physical touch, obviously. But importantly, for those early stages, it's also released through things like sustained eye contact, genuine smiles, even a warm tone of voice. Our courses draw this really lovely parallel. It's similar to the bonding process between a mother and baby gazing into each other's eyes. It's a fundamental human mechanism for building trust.
Okay, wow. So we've layered all these things. Seeing someone often, proximity, finding deep common ground, similarity, subconsciously checking their health signals, symmetry, scent, and then that chemical 1-2 punch of dopamine's rush and oxytocin's bond. How does it all come together in like a real-life moment?
The best way to see it work is probably through that case study the research mentioned, Anna and David. It pulls all these threads together really neatly.
Okay, let's walk through it. Anna's in this evening class, right? And David, total stranger, sits behind her. Boom! Proximity and familiarity start building just from being in the same room repeatedly. Then they get paired for an assignment, start talking, and discover they both have this like super niche obsession with 80s Persian pop and also follow local football really closely. That's the similarity, and it feels core to them.
Exactly. And as they're talking, Anna might notice, maybe not even consciously, that David has clear skin, maybe a symmetrical face. Those biological health checks are happening instantly. Their conversation flows easily. Maybe there's even an unconscious scent compatibility, signaling genetic diversity. Neither is aware, but it contributes to the comfort.
Right. And then maybe David gives her this really warm smile, and bam, Anna feels her heart speed up, maybe blushes a bit. That's the chemistry kicking in. That's the adrenaline and dopamine. And as they keep talking, making eye contact, laughing, the oxytocin starts to weave the beginnings of trust and connection.
See, it's not magic. It's just a stack of these measurable factors hitting at the right time, creating that powerful feeling. But this also explains why sometimes that intense initial attraction just fizzles out. Why does it sometimes fade so fast?
Yeah, that's the flip side. It falls apart when the underlying factors aren't really there to support it long term. Like the sources say attraction often collapses if the similarity is actually low. Maybe you were drawn in by looks or that initial rush, but you find out you have fundamentally different core values. Conversation gets hard fast.
Or if the familiarity stays weak, maybe you felt a huge spark with someone you met once or only interact with online. Without regular real-world interaction, that initial dopamine high doesn't get reinforced. It can't transition into that oxytocin-based trust and comfort. The spark just burns out because there's no substance, no shared experience building up.
Okay, so understanding all this science isn't just interesting, it's actually useful. It can help you navigate connections better. What are the main practical takeaways here?
I think the biggest one, honestly, goes back to similarity. You have to be yourself. Seriously, if you're pretending to like stuff or hiding your real interest to impress someone, you might attract them, but it's a false match. For true compatibility to spark, your genuine self needs to be out there.
That makes sense. And also, maybe give connection a chance, because we know proximity and oxytocin need time. Don't just write someone off instantly if there wasn't some Hollywood movie spark. Let that familiarity build. Comfort can grow.
100%. And third, balance the factors. Looks, the symmetry, the health cues, they definitely play a role, especially initially, but they're just the starting point. Personality, those shared core values, emotional safety, that's what makes attraction last. That's a long game.
And maybe practically signal openness. Since we know eye contact and smiles help release oxytocin and build bonds, using open body language, engaging genuinely, it actively invites that connection instead of shutting it down.
Exactly. And the final point is maybe the most important. Remember that attraction is only the beginning. The science explains the spark, yeah? But what keeps a relationship going? That's stuff like compatibility, deep respect, being committed to growing together. Those aren't chemicals. Those are choices and effort.
So when you put it all together, familiarity, similarity, the biology of faces and scent, the brain chemistry attraction stops feeling like this totally random lightning strike. It becomes, well, an understandable process.
Yeah, it's empowering, right?
Yeah.
Takes some of the mystery out, but gives you more insight.
It really does. And that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Once you grasp that attraction isn't just random magic, but this kind of measurable formula, you can shift your perspective. You can move beyond just passively hoping for a spark to find you. Instead, you gain the insight to maybe stop chasing those fleeting dopamine highs from superficial connections. You can more actively cultivate the conditions, seek out proximity, look for that core similarity, communicate openly, that build real, lasting connections with people who are genuinely a good fit for you. Understanding the science. Maybe that's the real shortcut to healthier relationships.
Now you know, attraction isn't magic. It's chemistry, literally. From the scent that triggers your brain to the hormones that decide your type, everything about liking someone has a reason. So next time your heart skips a beat, just remember, it's your brain doing its favorite trick. I'm really glad you joined me in this videocast. And hey, if you love learning how science explains everyday life, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button before you go.